My phone buzzed at 6:07, while steam rose from the apple pie I had baked for my son. I smoothed the navy dress I wear for family dinners and opened the message, expecting a reminder about dessert. Instead, 8 careful words cut through the quiet. You were not invited. My wife does not want you here. I did not cry. I did not call. I set the phone down and felt my life tilt, as if the table beneath me had, my name is Evelyn Moore, and I am 74 years old. This is the part nobody warns you about. It is not the aching knees. It is not forgetting where you put your glasses. It is the moment your own child tells you that you are no longer welcome. The message arrived at 6:07 in the evening. I had just finished buttoning the navy blue dress. I save for family dinners and church holidays. It is not elegant, not expensive, but it is neat, respectable, safe. The kind of dress Claire would not wrinkle her nose at. I had set an apple pie on the counter to cool. Daniel always loved my apple pie. Dinner was supposed to be at 7. I was not expecting a celebration. I was not expecting a cake. I was expecting a chair at the table in my son's home. A warm plate. How are you, Mom? That was all. When the phone buzzed, I smiled. I thought it would be Daniel asking if I needed a ride, or maybe reminding me to bring the pie. Instead, I read 8 words. You were not invited. My wife does not want you here. For a long moment, I did not feel anger. I did not feel tears. I felt nothing. It was as if my body stepped outside of itself and stood at a distance, looking at an old woman in a navy dress, holding a cooling pie that no one wanted. I thought at first that it had to be a mistake. Maybe it was not meant for me. Maybe Daniel was trying to send a message to someone else. Maybe his phone had been taken, or hacked, or dropped into the hands of his sarcastic co-workers. I told myself every story except the one in front of me. Then I read the message again. It was his number. It was his voice. It was my son. The kitchen felt too quiet. The clock above the stove hummed. Outside, a March drizzle tapped against the window over the sink. I could hear the house settling, the slow sigh of old wood, the soft groan of heat moving through the vents. It was the kind of silence you only get after you have lived alone long enough to memorize your own breathing. I sat down at the small table by the window and placed the phone in front of me. I did not call him back. I did not type a reply. I simply rested my hands, palms down against the table. They were shaking, but only a little. My heart was not breaking. My heart was unraveling. When something breaks, there is a sharp noise, a clean edge, a scream. When something unravels, it happens quietly, thread by thread, memory by memory. Daniel at 5 years old, clutching my hand on his first day of kindergarten, whispering, "Do not leave yet. Just one more minute." Daniel at 12, curled up at the foot of my bed, crying so hard he could not breathe after our old Labrador Henry passed away. Daniel at 26, taller than me now, cheeks flushed, eyes bright, bringing Claire to Sunday dinner for the first time. "Mom, this is her," he said. "This is the woman I am going to marry." Daniel last Thanksgiving, standing in the doorway to my porch, saying, "It is just easier if you do not come. Claire's parents are here and you know how it gets. Memory by memory." I had always defended him. Always. Whenever a line was crossed, I would smooth it over. He is tired. She did not mean it. They are stressed. It is a busy season. He will come around. But the truth was there on the screen. You were not invited. My wife does not want you here. Not, "Can we reschedule, Mom?" Not, "Tonight is complicated, Mom." Not even, "I am sorry." Just removal. Just erasure. I looked across the table at the empty second chair and felt something inside me shift position. I stood up slowly and walked down the short hallway to the spare room. It still smelled faintly of cedar and old paper. Against the wall was a narrow writing desk, the kind people used to call a secretary desk. It belonged to my mother. It is the last piece of her I have that still opens and closes. I pulled the chair out and sat. My hands moved without thinking. This part of me is muscle memory, bottom drawer, left side. Labelled folders. I have always been organised. People call it neat. Truthfully, it is survival. When you spend 40 years stretching one income into 3 lives, you learn to document every sacrifice. I pulled the thickest folder out and set it on the desk. The label on the tab read Daniel. Inside was not paper. Inside was a lifetime, a cashier's cheque for $25,000. Seed money, Daniel had called it. He wanted to start his own contracting company. He lasted 11 months before he called me in tears and said he could not keep up with payroll. I told him it was all right. I told him that not every dream works on the first try. A series of tuition receipts from the community college. But they were not for Daniel. They were for Claire. She wants to get her real estate license, he told me. It would mean a lot if you could help. Of course I helped. An invoice from the roofing company. The inspector says we will not pass without repairs, he had said. It is just for now, Mom. I will pay you back. He did not. Wire transfers noted as partial down payment assistance. The number beside them was not small. $120,000. I remembered the day he called me about that one. His voice had been full of excitement. We found a place near the river, Mum. It is perfect. You will love it. We will finally have room for everyone. You will always have a corner in our home. A corner. He had promised me a corner. The message tonight told me I did not even have a chair. I stared at the records. Money, yes, but it was more than money. Each document was a moment I said, I am here. I will carry you. You will not fall. I had been his safety net for so long that none of them remembered there was a person behind it. I leaned back in the chair and let out a slow breath. Richard, I said softly. My voice surprised me. It felt old and steady. You always warned me, did you not? On the wall above the desk is a photograph of my husband, taken the year before he passed. Richard Moore, tall, kind. The sort of man who never raised his voice but could stop a full argument with one quiet look. He used to tell me, Evelyn, love them, but do not let your love train them to treat you like a wallet. For years I told him he was being dramatic. For years I told him it was not like that. For the first time, I wondered if I had been lying to him or to myself. I picked up my phone again. I did not open Daniel's message this time. I opened my contacts and scrolled to Fairview Community Bank. My finger hovered for 1 second. Then I pressed call. A woman answered. Her voice was polite, professional, practiced. Good evening, Fairview Community Bank. How may I assist you? I straightened in the chair. My name is Evelyn Moore, I said. My voice did not shake. I need to suspend all automatic payments from my accounts. Effective immediately. There was a pause. I could hear her typing. Paper shuffling. Quiet surprise. All payments, Mrs. Moore? She asked carefully. Yes, I said. Every single one. And I would also like to revoke any power of attorney currently granted to my son, Daniel Moore. Another pause. Longer this time. That is a significant change, she said. We will need your signature to complete the process. I can begin the suspension now. That is what I want, I replied. Begin now. When I ended the call, the house felt different. It was still the same small hallway, the same thin carpet, the same rain against the glass. But the air in the room felt wider, like a window had opened somewhere I could not see. For 20 years I had told myself that this was love. Love is helping. Love is giving. Love is stepping in. Love is rescuing. Love is carrying the weight so no one else has to struggle. Sitting there at that desk, with a folder of proof in my lap and a silent phone on the table, I asked myself a question I had never allowed myself to say out loud. Was it love? Or was it a transaction I kept calling love? so I would not have to face the loneliness beneath it. I did not sleep that night. I reheated a cup of tea. I sat in the kitchen. I watched the sky shift from dark to grey to pale morning. Again and again, my mind replayed those 8 words. You were not invited. My wife does not want you here. Not we love you. But we need space. Not let us talk about this, just do not come. By sunrise, something inside me had settled. Not healed. Settled. That is different. Healing is a warm light. Settling is a line in the ground. At 7:10 the next morning, there was loud, impatient ringing at my front door. Not one ring, several, demanding, sharp. Daniel. Of course. He did not even wait for me to reach the door before he hit the bell again. In that moment, standing barefoot in my kitchen with yesterday's teacup still in the sink, I understood something with perfect clarity. He was not coming here to apologize. He was coming here for control. I walked to the door and reached for the handle. I could already feel the temperature in the house changing. As if a storm were pushing its way in, I opened the door. That was when Act 2 began. When I opened the door, Daniel did not wait for permission to enter. He stepped past me the way a man steps into his own garage. His jaw was tight. His eyes were red. His shirt was wrinkled in a way that told me he had not slept, or had slept angry. "Mom, what did you do?" he demanded. He did not say good morning. He did not say hello. He did not ask if I was all right. He walked straight into my living room and turned to face me, his voice low and sharp. The mortgage payment bounced. Claire's car payment did not go through. The bank called me about suspended authorizations. They said all of it stopped. All of it. Did you cancel everything? I closed the door behind us. The light outside was still early and blue. My small house felt even smaller with his anger inside it. Yes, I said. I did. He stared at me as if I had spoken a language he did not recognize. All of it, he whispered. All of it, Mom? 174 automated payments, I answered. The woman at the bank told me the number. I did not know it was that many. He sat down hard in the armchair, like someone whose legs had suddenly forgotten their purpose. For a moment he looked less like a grown man and more like a frightened boy. His hands rubbed over his face. I could see panic and calculation moving across him like weather. Why would you do that? He asked finally. I looked at him. Calm, steady, I did not raise my voice. You sent me a message last night, I said. You told me I was not invited to dinner. You told me your wife did not want me there. You did not call me. You did not explain. You did not even hesitate. You sent it like a grocery list, and then you went on with your evening. That was not what I meant, he said immediately. You are twisting it. I tilted my head. Am I? He looked away. Claire was upset, he said. Her parents were there. She did not want tension. I was trying to keep the peace. I let out a soft breath. Peace, I repeated. Tell me, Daniel. Whose peace? He opened his mouth and then closed it again. His foot bounced restlessly against the carpet. He did not answer. I went into the kitchen and poured 2 cups of tea. I placed one in front of him. He did not touch it. Daniel, I said, and my voice was quiet, almost gentle. Tell me one thing you have done for me. One thing you did not because you had to, but because you wanted to. One thing that was for me, not because something was broken or overdue or because you needed help. One thing. He stared at me like a man standing in a room where all the furniture has been removed. I watched realization move through him. It was slow and it hurt. He searched for an answer. He could not find one. He swallowed hard and looked down. That was the moment something inside me settled. I did not feel triumph. I did not feel revenge. I felt the gravity of truth. It was heavier than I expected. I have always helped you, I said softly. But help slowly became expectation. Expectation slowly became habit. Habit became entitlement. Somewhere along the way, my name turned into a line item in your household budget. I went from being your mother to being your solution. "This is not fair," he whispered. "Fair," I repeated. "Fair is what you text your mother the night you tell her to stay away." His jaw tightened. I could see anger returning. Anger felt safer for him than shame. "So what now?" he asked. "You just cut us off and watch us drown?" "No," I said. "I finally step out of the river and let you learn how to swim." He looked up, and for a moment I saw something flicker there. Not cruelty, fear. "Claire is going to lose it," he muttered. "This is not about Claire," I said. He let out a short, bitter laugh. "It is always about Claire." His voice cracked on her name. He caught himself, stood up and tried to gather his composure. "We will talk later," he said. "All of us. As a family. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock. "Your house," he did not ask, he instructed. "Fine," I said. "But there will be rules. No one walks into my home without respect." He raked a hand through his hair. He nodded once tightly, and left without finishing his tea. For several minutes after the door closed, I did not move. I stood in the center of my living room and let the silence come back. I expected to feel guilt. Instead, I felt air. Not joy. Not ease, just air. As if I had been holding my breath for years without noticing. 2 days later, there was another knock. Softer this time. When I opened the door, it was Ethan. Ethan is Daniel's son, 23 years old. Tall, pale from too much screen light, the kind of young man who wears expensive sneakers and thinks no one notices. But today he did not look confident. His eyes were ringed with exhaustion. His clothes were wrinkled. He had the restless energy of someone who had not yet faced a real consequence in his life, and had just met his first one. "Grandma," he said quietly. "Can I come in?" I stepped aside. He came in and dropped onto the couch like gravity was heavier for him than for most people. He rubbed his hands together and tried to smile, but his mouth barely moved. "I need help," he said. There it was. The family phrase. I sat across from him. My hands were folded in my lap. "How much?" I asked. He looked startled. "How much what?" "How much do you owe?" I said. "I assume this is about money." He swallowed. "About 6,000, he said. "Maybe a little more." "And what is it for?" He looked away. "Some stuff." "What kind of stuff?" His answer came out in pieces. A new phone. A weekend trip with friends. A few nights out. A rental payment he skipped, because he assumed I would cover it the way I always did. "You have had a full-time job for 2 years, I said. "At the insurance office downtown. Your father told me." He winced. "Yes." "So," I said, "why have you not learned to manage your money?" He looked like a boy again. Not a man. A child who had been told that bedtime actually means bedtime. "I just thought," he whispered. "I just thought if things got bad, I could ask Dad, or Mum, or you." There it was, the quiet confession beneath every request I have ever received. "You are our safety net. You will fix it. You always fix it." I leaned forward. "No," I said softly. "Listen to me, Ethan. I love you. You are my grandson. I will never stop loving you. But I am not your emergency fund. I am not your automatic approval button. I am not the invisible hand that smooths every choice you make, so you never have to feel the bruise." His eyes were filling with water. He blinked fast. "So you will not help me?" "I said I would not fund you," I replied. "I did not say I would not help you." He frowned, confused. "My late husband's attorney, Mr. Whittaker, is looking for help in his office," I said. "Reception work, paperwork, phone calls. It is not glamorous. It is honest. I will call him and tell him to expect you." He stared at me. "You would do that?" "Yes," I said, "because that is love. Love is not paying for your mistakes so you never feel them. Love is giving you a way to climb out. For a long moment he did not speak. The room was still, then his shoulders dropped. Not in defeat, in surrender, in understanding, thank you, he whispered. I nodded. There is one condition, he swallowed. What is it? You do not come to my door again asking for money, I said. You come to my door to visit me. You sit at my table because you want to sit with me. Not with my wallet. A single tear escaped him then. He wiped it away with the back of his hand and let out a small, shaky laugh at himself. I can do that, he said. In that moment, something in me loosened in a way it had not with Daniel. With Ethan, I could still see the part of the story that could change. That evening, when the sun had moved low across the street and turned the winter light a soft gold, there was one more knock. When I opened the door, it was Rebecca. Rebecca is Daniel's daughter, 27, clean ponytail, soft sweater, clear eyes. She did not look frantic. She did not look angry. She was holding a canvas bag of groceries. She smiled at me, gentle and without performance. Hi, Grandma, she said. I brought dinner. You did not answer your phone. And I wanted to check on you. Those words moved, through me like warmth. She did not come for money. She did not come to defend anyone. She came to see if I had eaten. I let her in. We moved easily in the kitchen, the way women do when they have cooked side by side more than once. She chopped vegetables while I boiled pasta. We did not rush. After a while, as if she had been waiting until her voice would not tremble, she asked, Are you all right? I looked at her. Her face is Daniel's face, softened. Her mother's eyes, but kinder. She has always stayed a few extra minutes when she visits. She calls on my birthday. She hugs me and does not let go first. For the first time in 2 days, I felt my mouth lift, I think, I said slowly. For the first time in a very long time, I'm starting to be. Rebecca exhaled, as if she had been bracing herself for a different answer. She nodded. Good, she said. Because I think you are doing the right thing. I watched her. You do? Oh, yes, she said quietly. I have watched the way they lean on you, especially Claire. The clothes, the car, the house. Somehow it is always you paying, even when they act like they are the ones in charge. It is not right. You have taken care of everyone for so long. It is time someone takes care of you. I had not expected those words. Not from someone her age. Not said so calmly. I felt my throat tighten. When we sat down to eat, it was simple. Pasta, salad, soft bread. No tension. No negotiation. No performance. Just food and conversation and presence. This is what family is meant to feel like, I thought. Safe, sincere, free. After dinner, she helped me wash the dishes. Before she left, she hugged me. Her arms stayed around me a long time. I am here for you, she whispered. Not for your money. For you. When the door closed behind her, I stood there in the quiet hallway with my hand still resting on my own shoulder, where hers had been. I thought to myself, this is what love sounds like. The next afternoon at exactly 2 o'clock, as agreed, Daniel came back, but he was not alone. 3 cars pulled into my driveway. I recognized none of them. I watched from the front window as Claire stepped out in full, polished perfection. Behind her came her parents, her sister, and even 2 people I did not know. They were dressed like a committee. They moved like a committee. They looked at my small home as if they were preparing to evaluate it. Daniel stood on my porch, pinching the bridge of his nose. He looked exhausted. He also looked afraid. When I opened the door, he said quietly, Mom, we all need to talk. I looked past him at the group gathering on my walkway. An audience, I thought, not a family. An audience. I stepped aside just enough to let him in. Daniel, I said evenly, you may come in. Claire may come in. Your children may come in. The rest may wait in their cars, or they may leave. This is my home. It is not a courtroom. He closed his eyes for one slow second. Behind him, Claire's face hardened. The air in the doorway grew tight. This was no longer a conversation. It was an intervention. And I understood with perfect clarity what they had really come here to save. Not me, their lifestyle. "Let us begin," I said. Claire did not wait for me to finish speaking. She stepped forward as if the house already belonged to her. Chin lifted, posture perfect, voice controlled in that way some people use instead of raising the volume. "Good afternoon, Evelyn," she said. "We are here to discuss the situation." Her tone was not warm. It was managerial. Behind her, Daniel hovered at the edge of the hallway like a man who has been pulled in two directions for so long that both sides have started to tear. Ethan stood near the kitchen doorway, shoulders tense, eyes down. Rebecca sat quietly at the dining table with her hands folded, as if she already knew this would not be a conversation so much as a verdict. I stayed where I was, in the living room, standing by the small lamp beside my chair. This was my home, my ground. By one piece of earth. "This is not a board meeting," I said. "We are not here to draft a contract." Claire smiled without softness. It was a smile made for real estate showings and polite confrontations. "With respect," she said. And the way she said "with respect" carried no respect at all. "Your recent financial choices have put a great deal of strain on everyone. On me, on Daniel, on our children, on my parents as well. They were planning their retirement around certain expectations. This affects them." I let those words exist in the room for a moment. "Your parents," I repeated slowly, "planned their retirement around my bank account." Claire lifted her chin a fraction. "It was understood that you were helping the family," she said. "All of us are connected. We are a unit." "A unit," I said softly. "I see." Her voice sharpened. "This is not fair, Evelyn. You cannot just cut everyone off without talking to us. We have bills. We have obligations. You are tied to this house, to these payments, to this plan. You cannot simply walk away because you felt insulted by one message." I turned my eyes to Daniel. He flinched. For a moment, no one spoke. In that quiet, I could hear my heart. Slow, steady, not racing, not frightened, just present. It struck me then as something almost holy. I had not felt present in front of my own son in years. "Daniel," I said. My voice was calm. "Look at me." He lifted his gaze. His eyes were glassy, tired, lined with regret. I remembered those eyes when he was 5 years old, begging me not to leave the school parking lot yet. I remembered those eyes when he was 12 and shaking over a dying dog. I remembered those eyes when his father and I signed the last mortgage payment on the first house we ever owned. Now those same eyes could not hold mine for longer than a heartbeat. "Tell me the truth," I said softly. "Did you send that message because you believed it? Or because you were afraid to tell her no?" His throat moved. He swallowed. He opened his mouth, closed it, and opened it again. "I was trying to keep things calm," he whispered. "Claire said it would become a scene if you came. She said there would be tension. Her parents were there. I did not want to fight in front of them. I thought it would be easier for one night if you stayed home. I did not think it would be permanent. I did not think you would react like this." I nodded. His answer did not surprise me. It hurt, but it did not surprise me. "You did not think," I said. His face tightened. I turned to Claire. "Tell me one thing," I said. "One single thing you have done for me that did not include money. One thing you have done because I am family, not because I am useful, not because I am generous, because I am yours, and you are mine." Her lips parted. She blinked. Her silence filled the room like smoke. She shifted. "You are being emotional," she said at last. This is manipulation. You are trying to guilt everyone and make yourself a victim. No, I said gently. I am finally telling the truth out loud. Her expression hardened. You will regret this, she said. You will find yourself alone. You will call. No one will answer. You will sit in this house and wish you had not pushed us away. You think you have power right now, but you are burning the only bridge you have. Daniel made a sound under his breath, a quiet plea. Claire, please. But I did not need him to defend me, because I was no longer defending him. I took one step closer. Not aggressive, not dramatic, measured, entire. Listen to me, Claire, I said. Family is not a word you use when you need money. Family is what you show up for when there is nothing to take. Her jaw tightened, her eyes flickered. For the first time since she walked in, I saw something beneath the polish. Not anger, not arrogance. Fear. Fear of losing the way things had been arranged. Fear of looking directly at the truth of that arrangement. She turned her head away. I let the silence sit. I wanted them to hear it. Not my anger. Their own emptiness. I looked at Ethan. He had not spoken once. He stood with his hands in his pockets, shoulders tight, guilt heavy on his face. Ethan, I said softly, tell me why you are here. He swallowed. I wanted to make sure you were all right, he said. And why else? I asked. He glanced at his father. Then he lifted his head. His voice shook, but he said it anyway. Because they asked me to help convince you, he whispered. They said you were not thinking clearly. Daniel shut his eyes. Claire exhaled through her nose. Rebecca moved then. She had been quiet until now, rooted in her chair like a witness in a courtroom. But at that she stood and came to stand beside me. Her presence was not loud, but it was absolute. Enough, she said softly. This is enough. Her voice did not tremble. She looked at her father. Dad, she said, listen to yourself. Daniel rubbed his forehead. Rebecca, please do not. No, she said. I am done pretending this is normal. You have let Claire talk to Grandma like she is an employee, like she is an account. You let us treat her like a resource instead of a person. You have watched it happen for years and you did nothing. Her eyes shone. Her cheeks were flushed. Then she turned to Claire. And you, she said quietly. You told him not to let her come to dinner. Do you understand what that means? Do you understand what it means to tell a 74-year-old woman that she is not welcome in a house she helped pay for? Claire's mouth tightened. I do not like your tone. Rebecca gave a brief, humorless breath. You do not have to like it, she said. You just have to hear it. For a moment, no one moved. Then I spoke. What hurts, I said, is not the money. Money can be earned. Money can be lost. Money can be replaced. What hurts is the erasing, the ease with which I disappeared from your table the moment I stopped paying for it. Daniel made a quiet sound. His hands were shaking. Mum, he whispered. Please, please do not do this. I looked at him. I felt love. Real love. The kind that aches. The kind that does not lie to make itself easier to hold. I am not doing anything to you, I said. I am doing something for me. His mouth trembled. His eyes filled. What do you want? He asked. Tell me what you want. Do you want me to apologize? Do you want me to beg? No, I said softly. I want you to grow up. I want you to understand the difference between love and dependence. I want you to stop calling need devotion, and then I want you to leave my house. The words were not shouted. They dropped into the room like stone. Claire stepped back first, as if struck. Ethan stared at me, stunned. Rebecca did not move. She stayed beside me like an anchor. Daniel stood there, his face crumpling in a way I had not seen since he was a child. For a moment, I thought he might refuse. I thought he might fight. I thought he might rage, accuse, demand. Instead, his shoulders fell. He nodded. "All right," he whispered. He turned to go. Ethan followed him, still looking back at me. I gave him a small nod. He swallowed and nodded back. Claire did not speak to me. She swept past with a hard expression and a stiff spine, as if dignity could cover fracture. At the doorway, Daniel paused. He turned, reached for words that did not seem to exist for him anymore, and said quietly, "I will call you." I held his gaze. "If you call me," I said, "call because you want to talk to me, not because you want to fix your life with my money." His face twisted in pain. He nodded once and stepped outside. The door closed. Silence returned to the house like a soft blanket lowered over a shaking body. For a long moment, I stood in my own living room and did not move. My heart was steady. My hands were steady. My breathing was even. I felt emptied and full at the same time. Rebecca turned to me. "I am proud of you," she whispered. I did not answer. I simply pulled her into my arms and held her, not because I needed to keep her from leaving, but because I wanted to feel what love without condition feels like when it is close enough to touch. The next 6 months passed in a way I did not know life still could. For the first time in decades, I was not anyone's automatic contact. I was not anyone's secret solution. I was not the soft place every falling thing landed. I was simply Evelyn. I woke up without my phone already in my hand. I sat on the porch with coffee and watched morning light move slowly across the street. Sometimes I read. Sometimes I did not. Sometimes I just listened to the world breathe. I took long walks by Lake Mendocino, where the air carried pine and water and a quiet honesty I had forgotten existed. I signed up for an art class at the community center. The first time I held a paintbrush, my hands shook. The second time, they did not. Ethan took the job with Mr. Whitaker. One afternoon at the grocery store, I saw him in a shirt and tie, hair combed, posture straight. He did not ask for money. He did not explain himself. He simply hugged me. It was enough. Daniel and Claire sold the river house. They moved into a smaller place. I did not hear much from them. Sometimes a message, sometimes a short call, sometimes nothing at all. The silence no longer terrified me. It informed me. Rebecca visited often. She never arrived empty, but she never arrived with demands. Sometimes she brought me a new candle. Sometimes she brought me nothing but her afternoon. She sent a photograph of her new apartment. In the message were 9 simple words. I made you a room. Yours. Always. No conditions. I cried when I read it. Not from grief, from relief. One evening, summer light stretched thin and golden through my living room. My window was open. The house breathed like a living thing. For the first time in a very long time, I felt something I could not quite name. Peace. Not the quiet that comes from being ignored, the quiet that comes from belonging to yourself. I was sitting with a book in my lap when my phone lit up on the table beside me. Daniel. 6 months ago, I would have answered before the first ring had finished. I would have hurried. I would have worried. I would have already been rehearsing solutions in my mind. Now I watched the name glow on the screen. I listened to it ring, calm and even, until it stopped. I did not ignore him out of anger. I did not ignore him to punish him. I simply chose not to step back into a room that had already been cleared of me. I lifted my glass of iced tea and raised it slightly in the empty room, as if toasting someone only I could see. To the woman who always came last, I whispered. She is gone now. In her place is someone who understands that love without respect is not love. Dependence is not devotion. Access is not closeness. Obligation is not family. In her place is someone who understands that peace is not the absence of people. Peace is the return of yourself. Later that night, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Rebecca. She sent a picture of a small bedroom. Soft light, fresh sheets. A simple nightstand with a book and a glass of water already waiting. Her message said, "Grandma, this is your room. It will always be here. For you. Only you." I pressed my hand over my heart, because in that moment I understood the truth. The legacy I leave is not the money I gave away. It is the boundary I finally drew in the honesty I was brave enough to speak. If this story reached you, then hear me now. It is never too late to choose peace. It is never too late to choose yourself. There are moments in life when silence teaches more than words ever could. Evelyn's silence, the one she found after the shouting had stopped, after the bank calls, after the slammed doors, was not empty. It was the kind that speaks. The kind that says, "I have finally remembered who I am." For most of her life, she had mistaken sacrifice for love. She had confused giving with belonging, endurance with devotion. Many of us do. We pour ourselves into others, thinking that the more we give, the stronger the bond becomes. But love without boundaries does not build bridges. It builds cages, quiet, invisible ones that we lock from the inside. Evelyn's story is not just about money. It is about reclaiming the currency of the soul self-respect. She discovered that peace is not a gift others can hand to you. It is something you decide to keep for yourself. When she chose to end the transactions disguised as affection, she did not lose her family. She simply made space for the ones who truly wanted to stay. Each of us, in our own way, carries a version of Evelyn inside a part that says yes when it longs to say no, that remains silent to keep the peace while breaking quietly within. But life, if we listen closely enough, will always offer us the same invitation, to stop shrinking for love and start standing for it. Perhaps her story reaches you at a time when you are giving too much, apologizing too often, or waiting for someone to notice your worth. If so, let this be your sign. You do not owe anyone your exhaustion. You owe yourself your peace. As Evelyn learned, freedom does not always arrive in grand gestures. Sometimes it comes with a simple decision, to let the phone ring, to sit still, to breathe, to choose quiet over chaos. If her journey has touched something within you, share it. Somewhere out there, another soul is sitting at a small kitchen table, wondering if it is too late to begin again. Tell them it is not. And if you wish to walk further with stories like this, stories that remind us of courage, healing, and the quiet strength of rediscovering our own worthstay with this channel, leave a thought in the comments. Share what peace means to you, because when one voice speaks truth, it echoes in another. And that is how we heal, not all at once, but together, one story at a time.